bring the band in. Woo. Well, all right.
All right, guys, welcome back to another edition of Between Rounds. This week we're talking Big Ten wrestling. The pre-seeds just came out, actually super clutch while we were doing this. So we got to figure out where everybody's placed in order. And we're going to start with 125.
Is that what the seeds are? Placed in order?
No.
I'm just curious. I'm glad you straightened that out for us.
Yeah.
Now I know what we're talking
We got to
about.
figure out when the rankings match up with, I've had a cold for a week.
And then what had happened was,
Stupid.
all right, I wouldn't say that.
Thank you.
Unfortunate.
But we're starting at 125.
All right, so we got Ramos, Caleb Smith, number 2, Peterson, number 3, and Lilladall, number 4.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really tough seed. Lilladall has taken some lumps this year, and him going down to the 4 seed, I think kind of matched up what I was going to think was going to be the finals. I think Lilladall and Ramos are the best kids at the
Now, where
weight.
would they meet at 1 and 4?
So 1 and 4, they're going to meet in the semifinals.
Okay.
If things go according to
Right,
plan.
if somebody gets upset
Yeah,
usually.
there's
but-
upsets every year, but if we're just going to go by how it should work out, that Ramos should wrestle Lilladall.
Yeah, initially I thought it would be Ramos and Lilladall in the finals.
Yeah, me too.
For me. But now that they're meeting the semis, those Penn State guys have a way of coming through in the tournament. And Lilladall's had a good season. He's taken a couple of lumps, but you think he has a chance in the finals?
Well, I mean, the kid's super tough, right? Obviously, he's like a multiple-time age level world champ, world silver medalist. So the kid knows how to win. But that Ramos, he's shown another level this year.
Yeah, he seems to be on like a mission.
Yeah, and I know he did a lot of off-season work with Stefan Micic, who's a world champ at his weight. So he's been getting in with some of the best guys in the world. And he's really coming into himself. He had that big breakout match against Spencer Lee where the
Which
whole
is
world...
amazing.
Yeah.
Like, people consider him maybe the greatest 25er
Of all time.
of all time.
Yeah.
To beat him, man, you got to be confident against anybody.
Yeah, I mean,
who wrestles.
he beat an Olympic silver medalist.
Yeah.
So he's beat and been there with some of the best guys in the world, and I really do think it's Ramos's year. I think Ramos is going to end up taking it in the 125-pound division.
I got to agree with you. I'm looking forward to Lilladall, seeing where he's at, because he's been fun to watch wrestle this year. But I think Ramos is just on another level.
And then on that bottom side, because we didn't even mention that, but we've got the Smith and Caleb Smith is going to be the number 2 seed, and he's been around for a while. He's a vet. He's explosive. He doesn't make very many mistakes. Nebraska's got a tough one in Caleb Smith. I think he makes it to the finals and loses to Ramos.
Yeah, I agree. Ramos is tough. So that wraps up 25.
Yep.
Let's move on to 133. We got Ayala at number 1, Lucas Bird at number 2, Braxton Brown and Braden Davis top 4. How do you see this one going?
Ayala has had a much better season this year, only losing to that Stanford kid, Tyler Knox.
Yeah.
But, and Braden Davis, I don't know if he's been hurt. He's been sitting some matches. He must be dealing with something nagging.
Yeah.
But he hasn't adjusted as well to the weight class as it seems Ayala has.
Not big enough, you think, or is?
No, I think he's big enough, but I mean, he kind of got away with bullying people at 25. He put a high pace. He hand fights really heavy and stuff like that. And the more you get up in weight class, the stronger those
Harder it
guys
is to
get. The
push
physical
people
it is.
around.
Yeah.
The thing thinking about him though is he has that experience in the Big Ten, and again, those Penn State guys seem to come through in the lights of the brightest. But when watching Ayala's season, he seems like he's primed to do his thing, at least for the Big Tens.
Yeah.
And then Braden Davis is just coming off that big injury break. Big 2-3 weeks, whatever it was. So he's probably pretty rested.
Yeah, probably feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I wonder how much the weight division, like you said, if it's not quite his division yet. Like it seems like Ayala
He needs another year to kind of adjust to it.
Yeah. Is there anybody else that has a chance in this thing?
That Lucas Bird is going to be the 2 seed, and Lucas Bird has been around forever, right? He's a couple-time All-American. The guy's a stud. He obviously knows how to win. He's ranked 2nd in the country.
He only has 1 loss this season too.
Yeah.
So that's probably a pretty tough sides of the bracket to beat. Though, I mean, you get those guys, 4 of them in the top 5.
Yeah, he's going to run into that Braxton Brown, who's been having himself a real breakout year.
Yeah.
He's 20-2 this season, so
God.
I mean, the Big Ten is
There's
just...
not an easy match anywhere.
No, I mean, some people say it's harder to win the Big Ten than it is a national tournament because you don't get any off matches.
Yeah. you're always going against somebody that's like right there with you.
Yep.
Just have a slightly off day, and you could have an off day.
Yeah, I mean, the top 4 seeds are all top 5 in the country.
Yeah.
That's an okay weight class.
So
But
I
if I had
think
to, sorry, you go.
I'm excited to see that Ayala Braden Davis. See if Braden has like used the break and he's feeling fresh and froggy.
Close the gap a little bit.
Yeah, because he's certainly a possibility to win this thing. But I kind of lean towards Ayala on this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think Ayala's going to get it done. And gun to my head, I think Lucas Bird sees him in the finals. I think those two are a little bit above the rest right now, with the dark horse being that Braden Davis.
Yeah. Well, and Braxton Brown, I mean, he's 20-2. It's not like he's been a pushover this season.
Yeah, I just have a hard time betting on those Maryland guys.
You don't like them Terps?
They're typically pretty shitty.
You put a turtle on their shell and see what happens.
Oh, shit.
That's bad. Anyway, that does it for 33.
All right, so we're moving on to 141.
141.
And this one, it's going to be probably our least deep bracket. And when I say that, I mean we've got 3 All-Americans that are in the top 3. We've got a national finalist in there, a national champ.
Yeah.
You know, but it really is going to come down to Bartlett versus Mendez. Bartlett versus Mendez.
Well, and they split their matchup this year, 1-1. Like Jesse had a little bit of an advantage over Bo last year.
Yep. He beat him in the Big Ten, then the NCAAs.
And then the NCAAs. So
then he beat him again in the WCA All-Star match.
When was that?
It's like the preseason All-Star duel.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And then the last duel they had, Bartlett came up on top.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's a 2-horse race. Obviously, there's really good people all over the place and upsets happen. But I think it's Bartlett versus Mendez. And I think Bartlett has kind of started to even the thing, right? I think a year ago, Jesse Mendez was a little mentally tough. The way he pulled off that finals win was amazing.
Oh, man, and how heartbreaking for Bartlett. You're behind a guy with 3 seconds left in the NCAA finals to win it.
Yeah.
And you give up the Granby of a lifetime
Yeah.
into a double that he finishes.
Well, and I think that's those things you need to go through to grow. Like you're gonna make mistakes, even at as good a wrestler as he is and as good an athlete as he is.
Well, and just seeing like Bo Bartlett, like what he posted on social media after, he posted a picture of him smiling, being like, I still had the best tournament of my life. Like, what a positive dude that guy is.
Yeah.
And he's going in with the right mindset. And maybe all he needed was that one win over him to be like, hey, this guy's beatable.
Well, and they're so close anyway. Those losses are not like blowouts.
They were all takedown matches. They're all 4-1.
Nobody's getting a tech fall on anybody.
No.
So I think it'll be tight again, but I'm leaning towards Bartlett. Who do you got in this one?
I got Mendez. I like the way Mendez wrestles, and not taking away from Bartlett. I really do like the way he wrestles. He's very defensively sound. He creates good scrambles. He gets to his one attack, and that's normally the matchmaker. But I love Mendez's tenacity. Yeah. He's going to go out there. He tries to put points on the board every single time. He's going to hit 10 shots a period. So I tend to go with the more offensive wrestler in situations like this. But who knows? These guys are both.
We'll have to bet lunch on this one.
Yeah, these guys are both so high level.
You think about athletes when they face each other so much, and they're both the best in the world, or in the country at least in this case. And then, just a little mistake or a little mental edge. And for me, that mental edge is sort of shifted to Bartlett. I don't think Mendez thinks that for sure. I'm not saying he's weak. He's super good. Mm-hmm. But I feel like Bartlett's going to come. We'll bet lunch on this one.
Fine, I'm down. I like bagels.
All right, that wraps up 141. Holy cow.
Yeah, this is
loaded.
Why? Well, and not only is it loaded, right? We've got, looking at the thing here, we've got 4 wrestlers ranked in the top 8 in the country, but the top 3 have all beat each other.
Yeah.
It just comes down to matchups. We were discussing this before we hit the cameras on, before we knew what the seeds were. We're like, this really depends on who the 2 and 3 seeds are and who's going to end up matching up, right? Because Van Ness lost to Lovett.
Yep.
Lovett lost to Parco. Parco lost to Van Ness.
Yes.
So
styles make matchups.
Styles do make matchups.
So in terms of that, like Van Ness is having himself an end of the season. I feel like he's kind of gained momentum, But he's got the number 4. He's got D'Amelio from Ohio State. What do you think about that matchup?
Who's tough? D'Amelio is a guy that's a gamer. He's always going to be there. He's just half a step behind the top 3. Like D'Amelio, not to take anything away from him, he's still an All-American. He's still one of the best guys in the country.
Badass,
but the top three, well, I mean the top four with Caleb Henson, who's not in this tournament, have really separated themselves in my eyes.
Yeah, super competitive. What Parko did, like he had an off match against Van Ness. Not off. I mean Van Ness was really good, but then he went out and he beats Lovett, who's fucking tough.
Who had just beat Van Ness.
So I think that they're going to face each other. If everything goes as planned, Lovett and Parko are going to face each other.
Yep, they'll face each other in the semis.
Yep, and then whoever's the winner of that
and it's going to be Van Ness versus D'Amelio.
Yeah.
Yep.
So who you got in the finals?
So I'm going to have Van Ness. Oh. I
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, I know I have a hard time, because I've got such love for Parko and Lovett. They're two of my favorite wrestlers to watch. Parko has had the edge every single time they've wrestled, so I just think Lovett's due.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then if it gets Lovett versus Van Ness in the finals, I've got Lovett over Van Ness. He's tougher on top. He's proven he can turn Van Ness. And if you can turn a guy at that high level, it's a matchmaker, right? Like it's so much different.
You don't think they've had enough time to deal with that? Is that just how it is style-wise?
I mean, they might just end up picking neutral, right? So it could be a takedown thing, which then I'd give the edge to Van Ness.
Which might be strategically the way to go.
But Parko might beat him.
Yeah.
Parko probably will beat him, you know.
For me, I think I love Parko. He's our guy. He's been here before, so I just want to say he's going to win every time, I love that. But if he wins, I got Van Ness. And then I think Van Ness is like hitting a tear. I know I tend to pick all the Penn State guys, but gosh, their system and the way they perform in big matches is hard to pick against.
I know. And I'm just, not that I'm tired of them. They're great for the sport. But we got to get somebody else in there.
So you're picking?
A coin flip between Parko and Lovett. But one of them's getting it done.
One of them's getting it done.
Yep.
Van Ness is winning the silver.
Yep.
All right. I got it the other way. 149, done.
All right, guys, we got 157 pounds here next. And again, just like 49 is a really interesting weight class.
Yeah. I mean, the Ethan Miller, how does he end up at the 1 seed? Tell me about that.
So Tyler Kasak ended up hitting an injury default to him, right? So got hurt in the middle of the match, injury defaulted out. So because Kasak had beaten Teamer and every other person has a loss, Ethan Miller's the only one going in there without one. So now, Kasak's going to be the number 2 seed, and then did it bump Teamer all the way to 4?
Yeah.
So it ended up working out kind of how I think it's going to go anyways with Teamer and Kasak in the finals.
You think Teamer's got an advantage over Miller?
Yeah, I mean, I think Teamer's got an advantage over everybody in the country minus Kasak.
Yeah.
He's so explosive. He keeps the matches close. He's so dang hard to score on.
That was such a tough match for Teamer against Kasak. Like it wasn't that big of a point spread, but it felt like
he was behind the whole time.
Yeah, it felt like I don't want to say dominating because it wasn't like that, but it felt like the other guy Kasak was better when you watched it. Did you feel like that too?
I did too. I mean, and it was one of those matches that if you just looked at the score, you'd be like, oh yeah, it was close.
Yeah.
But really, Teamer was never really in the match, right? He never got a takedown. He didn't seem super comfortable on his feet with him. Kasak walked him down.
Well, he was coming back off an injury too, though.
Yes,
I mean,
true.
Maybe he was still recovering a little bit from that, but it just didn't seem like he felt like he was going to win. I know that sounds silly. Of course he thought he was going to win, but it felt to me like he knew he was the second best wrestler in that match that day, which is weird because it wasn't a big point difference.
No, but I mean, Kasak picking him up, looking to the crowd.
Yeah, that was a big moment.
Yeah, it was a big dick moment. For sure.
And Kasak's had such a great season. But he was out for a couple weeks on injury, so I wonder if he's fully recovered. Do you think he's good?
Yeah, he'll be good.
Yeah. So I got Kasak winning this thing too. How's Ethan Miller's chances against Teamer?
It's going to be a close match. I mean, I kind of like all of Teamer's matches. It could be a 4-1, just decide with the takedown, 20 seconds left in the third.
Yeah.
But a little dark horse in there that could throw a wrench in things is that Joey Blaze.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
He's the brother of Marcus Blaze, who everybody in the wrestling world knows who Marcus Blaze is. He's the best high school wrestler in the country, probably right around with Bo Bartlett and stuff like that. But, I mean, he's tough, and he's wrestled all those top guys tough. Like, he hasn't got blown out of the water by anybody. So he could be somebody to watch out for.
For an upset?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to be Kasak over Teamer.
I like Kasak too. He's just so tough, and that match against Teamer really, swayed my.
Yeah, really solidified it.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of 157. Let's move on.
All right, next we're into 165, and this is really a tale of two great wrestlers, right? We've got Messenbrink and Caliendo. They're levels above the rest of the competition here, and I think it really comes down to them being in the finals. I don't see either one of them getting upset.
I think in the NCAAs too. I mean, I think this is just a preview of what's going to happen in the NCAA tournament.
Maybe. I got the Penn State backup maybe beating Caliendo at NCAAs.
What? Let's hear it.
I think, well, this isn't Big Ten, so sorry to get a little off subject, but that Terrell Bearclaw sat his whole career behind Strachey, and then Messenbrink came in. He transferred to Utah Valley. Now he's going to be probably the 3 seed going into NCAA. So
only one loss this season?
Yep. So he might match up with Caliendo. And then if he beats Caliendo, could be him and Messenbrink in the finals.
Which is a great storyline.
Yeah, it could be like Bubba J versus David Taylor back in the day.
But then Messenbrink wins anyway.
Yeah, I don't think anybody beats Messenbrink.
No, their match this season, Caliendo and Messenbrink, I thought was just like a showcase for Messenbrink.
He big dogged him in every single aspect of the term.
Yeah.
For you to tech the person that's ranked number 2, I don't know if people understand how difficult that is. Yeah. To get a major decision in a match against a ranking like that is huge. To get a tech is just damn right disrespectful.
Unheard of, yeah. I just think he's so good. He's been on a tear. You were saying you thought he'd win the Hodge this year, had a good chance.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes the Hodge gets weird because sometimes they go off like who has the most falls and stuff like that. But I haven't done the numbers, but he's got to be leading the country in tech falls. He's got to have put up more points than any other wrestler in the country.
Yeah,
he puts up 20 points a match.
Yeah, he's got a bucket of them for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's not easy because there's lots of tough guys, but I just think he's a head above everybody else.
Yeah, his pace is unmatched. His attack rate is unmatched. Caliendo is tough as shit and would beat me in a wrestling match. I just want to throw that out there. Caliendo
with his legs and arms tied together.
Yeah, I'm not taking this away from you, but no one's getting past Messenbrink.
Yeah, well, and hopefully Caliendo uses it to really drive him to a new level because that's what happens when you're chasing somebody great. You get great yourself, you know? So I'm looking forward to it, but I got to pick Messenbrink.
Yeah, me too.
Well, that's it for 165. All right, guys, let's move on to 174. And we've got Levi Haynes as number 1 and Karchla is number 2 from Ohio State. What do you think about this division?
I hate kind of saying this again, but I think it's just another Penn State weight class at Levi Haynes. His only loss this year is to Keegan O'Toole. And those are the top 2 guys, both national champs in their past years' performances. Yeah. I just don't see anybody beating Levi Haynes. And he's hit another level this year. He was almost a little bit like a Bartlett, I felt like, where he was really tough to score on, would score late. It would be one takedown matches, and he's really started opening up on people this year.
Yeah. How do you feel it's been him moving up a division? Obviously, his record's great.
Great.
Yeah.
He looks like he's filling into the weight class, and it almost makes you wonder if the reason he wasn't having such a high output was because he was sucking so much weight down at 157.
Oh, that's true.
You know, no matter how good a shape you're in, if you're cutting that much weight, it's hard for your legs to get to work in the third period. You know, your body starts shutting down a little bit, and especially wrestling, it's such a long season. You start your first practices of preseason, only first week of school in August, and you're not ending till the end of March. You know, that is, I know you're not technically in season, but you are. You're hitting the world's hardest workouts. So if you're cutting weight for that entirety, injuries happen, your gas tank slows down.
And then you still win a national championship.
And you still won it. Yes, exactly. Yeah, so he went through all this stuff. So I think at 74, his legs have thickened out, right? He's busting out of that singlet. He looks good. I think that's why his output's so high.
Yeah, I mean, again, like it's beating a dead horse, but the Penn State guys, when the chips are down, they show up. And, you know, win or lose, they perform well, and they're happy to be there. And, like, they're giving their best match. So for him, I don't see... I think this is kind of a...
But without mention that Karchala and the Lenny Pinto are going to wrestle.
Yeah.
And that Lenny Pinto's no one to ride out. You know what I mean? He's been around for a while. He's won big-time matches. He could end up pulling the upset over Karchala and making the finals. Now, I don't see anybody beating Levi Haynes in the finals, but that Lenny Pinto, he's a little bit of a dark horse. And I know he's not really a dark horse as a 3 seed, but he's somebody to think about.
I mean, you look at like the higher level wrestlers, they don't lose very much. When I see the 4 losses, and me kind of as a wrestling newbie, you know, I love watching it, but you have obviously a lot of background. When they have 4 losses and they get to this point of the season, you're like, I don't know. You know what I mean? And you see guys that have 0 losses or 1 loss, they know how to win those big matches. So I got Levi Haynes. Who you got?
Yeah, Levi Haynes.
You can go with Pinto.
No,
Them Nebraska boys are tough.
They are tough. The corn-fed bastards over there in Nebraska.
Mean. Because that's all they got is corn. Because they're going to be mean. All right, that's it for 174.
All right, guys, moving on to 184 pounds. And this one could get interesting in a lot of different ways, right? There's been a lot of shit talking on the interwebs out there between the number 1 and the number 4 seed, Carter Strachey and Gabe Arnold. And we might finally see it. Gabe Arnold's been ducking them, I think. In my opinion, if you want those big time matches, you walk into your coach's office and you say, hey, this match is mine, this spot's mine, I've proven it.
Why do you think they switched Ferrari in for that match?
Well, for one, I think they thought maybe they have more confidence in Ferrari than they do Gabe Arnold in keeping the match close. Maybe they thought the match could have got a little out of hand with that. And sometimes coaches will do that, right? Like this guy knows how to wrestle a super close match without losing big, you know, and then you get some guys who are going to go for the win the whole time, and then they end up losing big because they take those risks.
Take the risks, yeah.
You know, so that could have been part of it. But the other part, I think, is if it was a question of who you should put out there, and I know I'm the starter, I'm walking into my head coach's office, I'm talking with you, and be like, hey, no, this is my spot, I earned it.
Yeah, I want Strachey.
Yeah.
And you feel like you think he does?
I mean, he says he does, but I mean, he's shown twice now. He's ducked him twice.
Yeah. Duck's strong word, but I will say they didn't wrestle a couple times when there was the opportunity for them to wrestle. Man, how do you pick against a 4-time national champion?
You can't.
No, you can't. I think he wins this with style, and he did all that whole performance last year with a ripped up knee. Mm-hmm. Like, it was amazing, the focus he had, the way he stayed just lasered in for the whole tournament.
Yeah.
Man, he's too good.
He's hard to bet against, but that Max McElhenney, or however you say his name, the Minnesota freshman.
McAnally, I think.
You give him all the easy ones.
Yeah.
Hip But no, that kid's in having a year. And so who knows? These kids are
he's
good.
Undefeated too.
Yeah, and these kids are good at a younger age now. Like, it's not the typical, a senior's going to beat the freshman because he's got experience. It's not how the world of wrestling works anymore.
No.
These kids are coming in ready to win national championships right away.
Well, that McAnally has got Allred. Allred's been All-American, right? Like, he's from Nebraska, got a lot of experience. So
I believe Allred's been in the Big Ten Finals before too, if not winning it.
Yeah, I think so.
I could be wrong. Don't quote me out there, you little internet trolls.
Those wrestlers, they know. They're going to know if you're wrong.
I know, and then I'm feeling guilty.
No, they don't. They won't be. They'll let you have it. Let him have it. He deserves it. So who you got for the win?
I got to go with Strachey, but
over Arnold.
No, well, over Arnold in the semifinals.
In the semis. Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, because the 1 and 4 seeds right there. Sir. But then I think that McElhenney. Is that how we say it? I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. You're a stud. But I'm interested to see how that match goes, and I can't ever bet against Strachey right now.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that kid brings fireworks and he's ready to wrestle and he doesn't just kind of cower down and think that he should lose to him.
Well, I mean, that's what happens. The younger kid comes out and shows himself to be ready to go. So
go put your big boy pants on. I'm excited for it.
All right, that's it for 184. Okay, we're at 197. We almost made it through all these weight brackets.
Who would have thunk it?
God, glad we're no. This has been awesome, and it's so fun to talk about such good athletes. Wrestlers. I mean, I digress a bit, but wrestlers are so tough. Toughest sport, I think, ever.
Well, and the most underappreciated sport too.
And so it's nice to give a little bit of love and sunshine to these
throw
guys.
Some light out to these guys that are the hardest working kids in the country, in my opinion.
Rock stars, just studs. Anyway, Stephen Buchanan.
Wyoming boy.
Yeah. We got to start with
he's an Iowa boy now, but...
Yeah, but he was...
Yeah, we'll forgive you.
Wyoming boy.
Yep.
And then he's got Salazar from Minnesota probably in the semis.
Who is the defending Big Ten champ.
Oh, I didn't know. I've forgotten that.
Yeah, Salazar kind of squeaked in and surprised people last year. And
I don't say he'd squeak in. He'd say that. He said he stomped in.
Yeah.
Stormed in. You don't call it squeaking in.
Well, he did. He did. He did stomp in last year because I didn't know who he was, and then he stinking won the Big Ten finals. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, that's a stud.
Well, that's a good matchup. But Buchanan's been on another level.
And he's shown that he's grown since the year before too. You know, the year before he was he was winning everything that he should have, and against the top two guys, he was having some difficulties.
Yeah.
But this year he has proven time and time again that when the lights come on, he shows up.
Yeah.
You know,
and he's shown that in the big matches this year. Well, he's part of that class with Teamer and
Parco.
Kyle Parco and Buchanan. The three of those guys are studs at any university.
Yeah, any university.
And then you put him at the University of Iowa, who's just if not the most storied program, one of them. You know, Oklahoma State, Iowa,
Bo
and Penn
Nickel
State.
would say, the most expensive college wrestling team out there.
Bo Nickel never one to shudder from his opinion.
Yeah.
He's going to say what he thinks. Awesome. Love Bo Nickel.
But what a tough weight, right?
What
top
about
three
Barr
seeds are all
Penn
top
State? You think he's not quite ready?
No, I think he is. I think it's going to be a really exciting matchup. He's going to make adjustments. I mean, we got to remember, Barr took second at the U20 World Championships. So Barr is one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Yeah.
Buchanan just had the edge over him. And could have that been kind of bright lights? You know, did that get the best of him? Did like the old freshman fever get the best of him? Whatever those excuses are, he's going to be a different wrestler come the Big Ten Finals.
Yeah.
Like we've said time and time again, those Penn State wrestlers, whatever they're doing in their room come March, they've got something figured out.
One thing about the people he's wrestling around, Kirkfleet, Starachi, plus all the backups that we haven't met yet.
Yeah.
All studs. So, you know, he's competing against the
Aaron
best.
Brooks and Bo Nickel are still in that room, too.
Are they pretty good?
Yeah, I mean, they're all right.
I understand
Couple
they're
time
okay.
national champs.
Aaron Brooks is okay.
Yeah.
He's all right. Yeah, it's hard to... I'm excited to see the finals. But it's hard to bet against Buchanan in this one. I feel like... It feels like it's his year.
I do,
When you watch him do his thing, he feels like the bully in the room, the big dog.
That's exactly what I think. I think he's done a real good job at coming into his own this year and really been like, hey, I'm the big guy on campus. This is my weight class. You're going to have to rip it out of my hands to win it.
Oh, I agree. Well, that does it for 197.
All right, guys, we're into that final weight class. We've got the heavyweights, and just like 165, we've got a tale of just two of the top wrestlers in the country that really separate themselves. We've got Gable Stevenson, who won the Olympics, multiple-time national champ, and we've got Craig Kirkfleet, who's the defending national champ at the weight class.
Yeah. You know, Stevenson over the years has always been the monster in that division, right? Whenever he's there, like nobody stands a chance. He dominated from stem to stern his whole college career. And then when he left, Kirkfleet kind of he hadn't been able to beat him. And then he stepped into that space as the national champion and was the man and had a great performance in the tournament last year. Is he ready to take over?
I mean, just when
the top spot?
I don't think so. When you watch the things that Gable does, he wrestles like a 125-pounder in a big boy body. Yeah. Right? Like the angles that he hits outside head shots. He blows people out of the water. You don't see too many heavyweights hit outside step single and then blow you out of the water on a big double, right? Like a human shouldn't be able to lift another man that big the way that he does.
Illegal.
You know? But
morally reprehensible.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like if you see that guy down an alley,
You're turning the other way.
You go, no, thank you.
This is the wrong alley. I meant the other one, sir.
Yeah, my bad, sir. Thank you very much. But then you got Craig Kirkfleet, who is almost just a step below, and saying that with the utmost respect because he's a freak athlete as well.
Yeah.
Just a big boy that moves. Really,
all the people
really
that talk about him being a freak athlete.
Yeah, just a freight train.
Yeah.
Of a human being, right? And you know he's strong. You know he's fast. You know he's athletic. It's going to be interesting to see them wrestle again because it's not going to be the same match it was before. I think Gable may be stepping away for a little bit. Who knows if he lost a step. He hasn't shown like he has, but he also hasn't wrestled Craig Kirkfleet this year. Yeah. And how much has Craig Kirkfleet changed or smallened the gap? Smallened.
Yeah, smallened.
Yeah.
That's a scientific term. Don't use that too
much. Words are hard.
Unless you're around really smart people, don't use smallened. That's my advice to you. You know what, looking through the heavyweight rankings, not just Big Ten, but man, there's a bunch of old men that are there still. And I mean that old in a funny way.
Yeah.
But like Gable's been around forever. Kirkfleet's been around forever. Wyatt Hendrickson's been around forever. Colton Schultz has been around forever.
Yeah, it's like the battle of the 6 years, it feels like.
Yeah, it feels like in a sport where the freshmen have a real chance to do something. Not a heavyweight. Not a heavyweight.
Do you imagine being an 18-year-old kid and having to go wrestle Gable Stevenson?
No.
You'd be so sad.
No, I would, no.
I was an 18-year-old kid wrestling at 141, and I was sad sometimes.
Yeah.
You got those big bastards.
Oh, man.
Dry humping your leg up and down the mat.
And they're so good. But I mean, I really like Kirk Fleet's progression. It's been fun to watch, as, again, not a wrestling insider, but as a fan, and watching him like kind of gain confidence, go up the rankings and win a championship.
Agreed.
I don't know. Stevenson seems like...
How do you bet against him?
I can't. I got Stevenson.
Me too.
So listen, guys, this has been fun for us. We really love talking about wrestling. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you have the same picks we got, whatever your opinions are. And what do you think, Michael?
Yeah. Go watch some wrestling. It's great for the sport, great for the world.
All right, we'll see you next time.